Compromise is silent suicide. What if the biggest killer in your life wasn't cancer, wasn't poverty, wasn't your enemies, but your own willingness to settle? Compromise doesn't come with a warning label. It doesn't knock on your door and announce itself. It sneaks into your life disguised as being realistic, disguised as maybe later, disguised as I'll start tomorrow. And before you know it, tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next year, and next year becomes your entire life. The most dangerous thing about compromise is that it feels comfortable, it feels safe, it feels like wisdom when actually it is weakness wearing a suit. Every time you compromise your standard, you send a message to your subconscious mind that you are not worth the fight. You are telling your future self, I don't believe in you enough to protect you. History never remembered the person who settled. History never built a statue for the man who compromised his vision because life got hard. The people who changed the world were not the most talented. They were the most uncompromising. They drew a line in the sand and said, not this, not today, not ever. Your future is being built right now in this moment by every decision you make or refuse to make. Every time you say yes to something beneath your standard, you are saying no to the greatness that is waiting on the other side. Compromise is not a shortcut. It is a dead end dressed up like a highway. Your standards define your destiny. What if everything you have right now, your relationships, your income, your health, your happiness, is simply a reflection of the standards you have been willing to accept? Standards are not just rules. Standards are not just preferences. Standards are the invisible walls you build around your future. When your standards are low, everything that enters your life is low. Low energy people, low paying opportunities, low quality relationships, they all fit right through those walls because you built the walls too small. But when you raise your standards, when you decide that mediocrity does not belong in your story, something extraordinary begins to happen. The universe starts to reorganize itself around your new expectations. People who were draining you start to fall away. Opportunities that were always there suddenly become visible. Your standard is your signal to the world about what you will accept and what you absolutely will not. The moment you decide that you deserve better, and not just say it, but actually live it, breathe it, protect it with everything inside of you, that is the moment your destiny shifts direction. Most people lower their standards to fit their current circumstances. Champions raise their standards to create new circumstances. Your destiny is not determined by your talent. It is not determined by your background. It is not determined by your education. Your destiny is determined by what you are willing to demand from yourself every single day. And that demand starts with a standard that you refuse to negotiate, refuse to discount, and refuse to compromise no matter what. Pain is the price of purpose. What if the pain you are running from is actually the doorway to the life you are running toward? Most people treat pain like an enemy. They see discomfort and they retreat. They see struggle and they quit. They see pressure and they crack. But here is what nobody tells you. Purpose has a price, and that price is paid in pain. Every great man and every great woman who ever walked this earth had to go through something that broke them before it built them. The fire doesn't destroy the gold, it purifies it. The storm doesn't weaken the tree, it deepens the roots. Pain is not a punishment, pain is preparation. The problem is not that your life is hard. The problem is that you have been taught to avoid the hard things. You have been taught to take the easy road, the comfortable route, the path of least resistance. But let me tell you something. The path of least resistance leads to the most mediocre destination. Your purpose lives on the other side of your pain. Your breakthrough lives inside your breakdown. The moment you stop running from the difficulty and start running through it, that is the moment everything changes. Pain is not a sign that you are failing. Pain is a sign that you are growing. It is a sign that you are being stretched beyond who you used to be into who you were always meant to become. Stop asking God to remove the pain. Start asking God for the strength to use it. Your circle controls your ceiling. What if the reason you haven't reached your next level isn't your lack of talent, isn't your lack of resources, isn't your lack of opportunity, but your circle. The people around you are not just your friends, they are your future. They are the invisible ceiling above your head. They determine how high you think, how far you dream, how hard you push, and how quickly you give up. If everybody in your circle is comfortable, you will become comfortable. If everybody in your circle celebrates average, you will celebrate average. If everybody in your circle quits when things get hard, guess what you will do when things get hard? You will quit. Because human beings are wired for environment. You become your environment. You become the conversations you are surrounded by. You become the mindset that dominates the room you spend the most time in. The most successful people in the world are ruthless about their circle. Not because they are arrogant, but because they understand this principle at the deepest level. Show me your 5 closest relationships, and I will show you your future. I will show you your income level, your ambition level, your faith level, and your discipline level. If you are the smartest person in your circle, you are in the wrong circle. If nobody in your circle challenges you, stretches you, or makes you uncomfortable with your mediocrity, you need a new circle. Your future depends on who you allow to speak into your life and who you have the courage to walk away from. Discipline is the language of champions. What if the only difference between where you are and where you want to be is one word? Discipline. Not talent, not luck, not connections, not timing, discipline. Because talent without discipline is like a sports car with no fuel. It looks impressive, but it goes nowhere. Luck without discipline is like winning the lottery and having no idea how to manage money. It disappears. The world is full of talented people who are broke. The world is full of intelligent people who are stuck. The world is full of gifted people who are living far below their potential. Not because they weren't given enough, but because they didn't discipline themselves enough to develop what they were given. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. That is the secret, whether you feel like it or not. Feelings are liars. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is permanent. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you going. Champions do not wait to feel motivated. Champions do not wait for the perfect moment. Champions show up every single day, in the rain, in the dark, in the pain, in the season when nobody is watching, in the season when nobody is clapping, and they do the work anyway, because they understand that consistency compounds. Every day of discipline is a deposit into your future. Every day of laziness is a withdrawal. And when the moment of opportunity arrives, and it will arrive, the disciplined person is ready. Are you ready? Your vision must be non-negotiable. What if God placed the vision inside of you so specific, so powerful, so world-changing, but you buried it because somebody told you it was impossible? Vision is the most powerful force in the universe when it is protected. But most people don't protect their vision. They share it with small-minded people. They allow discouragement to water it down. They let temporary failure convince them that it was never possible. And slowly, quietly, painfully, the vision dies. And when the vision dies, something inside the person dies with it. You have to understand something. Your vision is not just a dream. Your vision is your assignment. It is the reason you were placed on this earth at this exact moment in history. Nobody else carries your specific vision. Nobody else has your exact assignment. And the moment you compromise that vision to fit somebody else's comfort, to fit somebody else's expectations, to fit somebody else's limited understanding of who you are, you rob the world of something it desperately needs. Your vision must be non-negotiable, not to everybody else, to you. You must become so convinced, so committed, so absolutely certain of where you are going that no rejection can redirect you, no failure can stop you, no opinion can detour you. Write the vision, make it plain. Wake up every morning and look it in the face. Go to sleep every night with it burning in your chest, because a man with a clear vision cannot be stopped. He can be delayed, but never stopped. Protect your vision like your life depends on it, because it does. What if right now, in this very moment, the greatest threat to your future is not the economy, not your past, not your enemies, not your circumstances, but a single decision you make when nobody is watching? What if every time you said just this once, you were actually writing the first sentence of a story that ends in regret? What if the life you have always dreamed about, the success, the freedom, the impact, the legacy, is not locked behind a door that needs a key, but behind a line that needs a choice? What if I told you that your future is not determined by how much talent you have, how much money you were born into, or how many opportunities life handed you, but by what you absolutely, unconditionally, non-negotiably refuse to compromise? What if the version of you that changes your family, that breaks generational cycles, that builds something the world has never seen, is waiting on the other side of one decision? One decision to stop settling. One decision to hold the standard. One decision to say, not me, not today, not ever. You need to hear this, because where you are going is too important for you to keep playing small. The future that God designed for you is too significant for you to keep negotiating with mediocrity. And if you stay with me right here, right now, I promise you, by the time we are done, you will never look at compromise the same way again. Let's go. All right. I need you to lock in. I need you to leave everything else outside this moment. Whatever you were thinking about before you press play, let it go. Whatever distraction is trying to pull your attention away right now, shut it down. Because what I am about to share with you is not just information. This is a conversation about your life, about your future, about who you are choosing to become with every single decision you make from this point forward. Let me start with a question that most people are terrified to answer honestly. How many times this week, just this week, did you compromise? How many times did you say you were going to wake up early and you hit snooze? How many times did you commit to eating better and then told yourself just this once? How many times did you plan to work on your dream and then chose entertainment instead? How many times did you know what the right decision was and chose the comfortable one? Be honest, because honesty is the beginning of transformation. Here's what I need you to understand at the deepest level. Compromise is not a one-time event. Compromise is a habit. And like every habit, the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. The first time you compromise your standard, it feels wrong. The second time, it feels less wrong. The third time, it feels normal. And by the time you have compromised 100 times, 1,000 times, it doesn't even register anymore. It just becomes who you are. And that is the most terrifying thing I can say to any human being. That compromise left unchecked becomes identity. You were not born to be average. I don't care where you came from. I don't care what your background looks like. I don't care what people told you growing up. Something inside of you already knows this. You were built for more. You have felt it. Maybe you felt it as a kid before the world got to you and told you to be realistic. Maybe you still feel it late at night when everything is quiet and honest. That burning thing inside your chest, that is not just emotion. That is purpose. That is destiny. That is the life that is waiting for you on the other side of your non-negotiables. But here is the challenge. Purpose is not automatic. Destiny is not passive. You do not stumble into greatness. You do not accidentally end up living your best life. Every person who has ever built something extraordinary, every person who has ever broken the cycle of their family, every person who has ever turned their pain into a platform, they had one thing in common. They decided at some critical, sacred moment in their journey that there were certain things they would not compromise, certain standards they would not lower, certain lines they would not cross. Not because life didn't pressure them to, not because it wasn't tempting, not because it wasn't easier to just go along with what everybody else was doing, but because they had a vision that was bigger than their comfort, and they chose the vision. I want to talk to you about your standards, because I absolutely believe that where you are right now in your life is a direct reflection of the standards you have been willing to accept. Think about every area of your life, your finances, your relationships, your health, your career, your mental state. Now ask yourself, What standard have I been accepting in each of these areas? Because life does not give you what you want. Life gives you what you tolerate. Life gives you what you are willing to accept. And the very second you decide to raise your standard, the entire trajectory of your life begins to change. Most people wait for their circumstances to change before they raise their standards. They say, when I get more money, then I'll start being disciplined with my finances. They say, when I find the right relationship, then I'll start showing up as a better partner. They say, when my situation gets better, then I'll start working on my dreams.